Good morning! After a not so good night's sleep at temperatures past the 23 degrees mark, I left Swava at 8:30 in the morning and headed to a charging station in Poznan and then on to Torun. Does that latter name ring a bell? Well, we've had days of culture, days of modern entertainment and nature, so what else but a day of science should follow? Torun is the birthplace of Nicolaus Copernicus. He had a doctorate degree in canon law, that's the law governing the church, and was also everything else that could come in handy on occasion, like astronomer, physician, mathematician, diplomat, and he could also translate his own words into those of others. Or the other way around. In short, a really useful person to bring along to, well, everything really. Oh, and he was a bit of a rebel too. Working for the church and having a relationship with the housekeeper, you do the math. Copernicus was the one that challenged the clerical view that Earth is the center and everything revolves around it. He developed the so-called heliocentric model, which describes the sun as the center of the universe, with the planets, including Earth, revolving around it. He was, however, not the first to postulate this model. That honor goes to Aristarchus of Samos, a Greek astronomer who got there a mere 18 centuries earlier. But did he publish a book? Of course not. Copernicus published his finding in his book De Revolutionibus Orbium Coelestium, which was released just before his death in 1543, a fact that probably spared him being charged with heresy by the very church he worked for. You could argue he did that deliberately, like pulling a face from the grave. Later followers of his, like Galileo Galilei, had to contend with the church for their preposterous claims that Copernicus was right. Heretics. Didn't get them burned, though. I believe that was a prerogative reserved for witches. So, where were we? Right. Nicolaus Copernicus lived from 1473 until 1543, remember the book? Studied at renowned Polish universities, but made his living in the service of the church. His astronomical genius developed during his spare time, as you do really. What you need to know and remember about Torun and the Copernicus Museum is that it is closed on a Monday. Yes, the very day I was there. The lovely person at the reception still allowed me to look into a couple of rooms downstairs. So definitely pick another day when you go there. Even if you happen to turn out as dense as me and show up on a Monday, Torun is a lovely city to take a stroll through. From Torun, I decided to head straight to Tri-City because I really needed to sit down and edit some footage so you could start enjoying my antiques as well. What is Tri-City, you ask? Let me explain. It is Gdynia, Sopot and Gdansk, in order from west to east, which is the opposite to the way the sun gets to see them. I ended up on a very nice campground in Gdansk, very close to the Baltic Sea, I mean the actual water. And there I then spent the next day staring at my laptop and was rewarded with dinner with friends. So with all that said, let's have a quick look at the map and the driving data. I started in Swawa and drove to the charging point in Poznan, which was a drive of 97 kilometers. There I charged the battery from 26 to 93%, which was 53.6 kilowatt hours at a price of 2.05 Polish zloty or 0.47 euros per kilowatt hours. It made it slightly cheaper than in Czech Republic, where we paid 50 cents. Then I drove 165 kilometers to Torun, and from there a further 99 to Możeszczyn, remember butchering names, for another charging stop, topping up 47 kilowatt hours to get the battery from 36 back to 93%, at the very same price of 2.05 Polish zloty. After that, I made my way first to Sopot, then Gdynia and eventually Gdansk. It was a lot of motorway driving, so the consumption went up from what we had the past couple of days. As always, the driving data is available on my website www.travelectric.net. And that is all for today. Tomorrow I will spend the day editing and then we are off to Lithuania. As always, thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful and perhaps even a little entertaining. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you on our next adventure. You have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.